Mr. X, I need some intel before I interview today's target. Do you even read the briefings I sent you, Missing D? No. Today you'll be speaking with ThrillDaWill. He's an up-and-coming YouTuber who makes game projects based off of memes, cartoons like SpongeBob and Chowder. Get all that? 10-4. Good. Mr. X, over and out.
So yeah, we'll start off with. So, how you doing, Will? Can you introduce yourself for us?
Yeah, I'm Will the Thrill, or ThrillDaWill, as most people know me by now, and I make video games, video content for YouTube, and yeah, pretty much anything with media.
And how long have you been making video games, but also videos? Like, I guess all of this creative endeavor.
I would say a total of 6 years I've been making content on the internet.
Nice. And you had originally you have two YouTube channels, right?
Correct. Yeah, I have Will the Thrill and then ThrillDaWill.
And what's the distinction between those two?
One was primarily like, both. Well, I want to clarify. Both channels are completely learning development. A lot of people think like I'm trying to make it on YouTube or like do things, but in every single one of my videos, I primarily focus on something. So in my Will the Thrill content, it was, oh, how do I do this one VFX shot? How do I do this one crazy like 3D thing? And then in my ThrillDaWill videos, it was, how do I make a game? How do I add health? How do I add all these different elements that a game would have? Which I feel like a lot of people overlook, and I've never really been able to explain that besides my Twitch live streams.
Mm-hmm.
Shameless
Yeah,
plug.
and I was able to yeah, we'll get to that. We'll definitely share all of your stuff at the end of the interview because I want people to see what I saw that interested me in reaching out to you in the first place. And by the way, quick, on those streams, you're really doing a lot of the game design stuff that you're interested in now, right?
Yeah, so primarily right now I'm just focusing on game design because I would say I mastered VFX and editing, so I'm not really too concerned about it right now.
And so, for the purposes of the interview, I really wanted to ask you questions about the game projects that you've been working on. Can you tell us a little bit about the ones that you've already had? And we'll kind of dive into those, and then we'll see what maybe you're cooking up for the future.
Oh, all right. So, I've started actually, my whole channel is dedicated to each game I've made, and all the progression is on there, combined with obviously Twitch live streams. But 3 months ago, I started making video games, and you can see the progression of me making a Mandalorian game. And then I accidentally made a mistake by creating Chowder Pass Me the MG42, which was created on a whim. My friend showed me that meme, and I was like, well, I wonder if I could just make it into a game. That would be funny. And it was actually just an inside joke between me and him, and I uploaded it for fun. Mind you, this whole channel wasn't even meant to be like found or like built upon. So I uploaded that video. It didn't really get too many views at the start. I think maybe like 100, maybe 200 views. Nothing out of the ordinary that I've never seen. And then I made an Iron Man video game because I wanted to make Iron Man because who wouldn't? And then suddenly this video starts blowing up like out of nowhere, like 100,000 and 200,000, and I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. I've gotten that before on other channels, and then it's like 400, 500, and I'm like, okay, wait, is this gonna stop? And then I upload a Mung Daal sacrifices his life for Vietnam after, because I was like, this thing's really taking off. I should probably like capitalize on this, right? And then that blows up and that takes off and that starts getting a bunch of views. And I was like, whoa, I think, I don't want to say I figured out the algorithm, but I kind of did. And just as like a test, I uploaded like a popular meme that was trending at the time, and it didn't really take off. So it confused me. I was like, well, if those videos were taking off and those memes were from like years ago. What if I do something from years ago that can maybe trend or like take off? So that's when I created Mr. Krabs SpongeBob ketamine video.
And I'll be honest, I don't recall where I saw it, but I remember seeing it, and it's just like, I mean, I'm a fan of this kind of like absurd animation kind of comedy, which we'll touch upon now, because you recreated one of Meat Canyon's animations, Sunrise. When I saw you make that, I was like, oh, this guy knows what's up, because I talk to other people about Meat Canyon, and they're like, what the hell? And I show them the stuff, and they're like, this guy's tripping, not only Meat Canyon, but myself for enjoying it. But when I saw that you like that, I was like, okay, now I can see a little bit of that inspiration for kind of the take that these games are going, because, you're mixing, I guess, childhood cartoon favorites, right, with these very serious topics. And I kind of wanted to ask, was there a specific reason you did that, or you were just like, I think this is going to be funny, let's see what this looks like?
It was like a combination of, I think it's going to be funny, and I wanted to try out some different elements that I was working with, because at the time I wanted to really like model. So the models in that game were created fully by me, and they're pretty fucking terrifying, if I do say so.
In Mr. Krabs, right?
Oh, I was talking about the Teletubbies game. But
oh yeah.
The Mr. Krabs game I also made too. I added like a bunch of textures onto him to make him look more depressing.
Did you make the Patrick? Because the Patrick was scary.
Actually, I did not. I found a 3D model of Patrick, and it was fucking terrifying, and I knew I had to put it in the game.
Yeah, that good play, because that Patrick was fucked up. Patrick was so fucked up.
I don't think in a million years I could model something that terrifying.
Oh man, that was good stuff. And then, like, did you voice act everything for the game?
Originally I did. So if anyone has the release of like 1.1 or something like that, all the voice lines will be done by me, and it will just sound like the same guy over and over again. But after, I think, a week, I got a group of my friends together, and they divvied out some voice lines.
They must have loved it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Just like, yo, you're going to be in my game. And they're like, all right, cool.
Yeah, they don't really ask questions. They just kind of do it.
You're probably, like, are your friends also like a creative bunch? Like, they make their own kind of stuff as well?
I mean, some of them are. I mean, they're not like as creative as I am. They're not like driven to just like make stuff every day. If they like, one of them will just model once in a while, like the other one streams every so often, but like they all have their own thing, and like I understand that. So you have to work around people's schedules.
I feel like with a group of friends, when you're like one of the key points of creation and stuff, and you always bringing up cool things, your buddies are always like, oh, let's see what Matt's up to. Oh, let's see what Will's up to. Because I'm like that, right? I'm the art kid of the group.
I feel like I tell them about everything I make, so they don't really come to see what I'm making, because I'm always bothering them for like voice lines or something. So maybe they get a little bored of it.
Hey, they get the sneak peek. They get the preview before we all do, right?
Yeah.
And so I gotta ask you, well, how long does it take to set up some of these game projects that you're working on? Because I played the Mr. Krabs game. It took me like 5 to 10 minutes. I actually had an issue, just and maybe you've heard of this as well. Like when I got to the end with Plankton, the big Plankton robot, for some reason I flipped the coin and it just like killed the game. And I was like, okay. So I went online, found a YouTube video, and I just saw the ending. Luckily, I didn't miss too much. I was about to finish the game at that point. But how long does it take to kind of make this project or these projects?
So most projects take about a day or two, which, mind you, that sounds bizarre, but at the same time, I've been researching ways to cut corners and get around to like actually making games, because what a lot of the time people do when they sit down to create a game is they design it, then they don't like it. They design it and they keep designing and designing it, and they never get to a finish point. They just keep making iteration after iteration, which is fine because you're roughing it out. But I would consider this fast-paced game design. You sit down, make a game, make a map, you're done with it, you throw it away. That's it. Like, none of these games I want to come back to because I want to just keep making more and more and more. And I feel like that's kind of helped me learn and grow as a creator, because you're not spending time on each project tweaking it and trying to make it better.
Mm-hmm. And so it seems like you've been self-teaching yourself all this game stuff. And it seems like you did that also with the VFX stuff privy to the game design. And what I want to ask you, and I actually asked this in the previous interview, now that we're in kind of these COVID times where everyone's got a lot of spare time on their hands, and I think a lot of people are trying to learn new skills or find ways to make their time more valuable, do you have any advice for someone who would be interested to kind of learn some of the same skills that you're currently applying?
People always ask me this question, just like normally. They're like, how can I get really good at 3D modeling? How can I get really good at, like, I don't know, VFX? And I always bring them like the question or answer, oh, just do it a bunch and you'll get used to it. But I realized over time, it's because I have a deep passion for it. Like, I'm not going to go out and work on a car for 16 hours straight. Like, that's just not me. So maybe it's just me, but personally, I just love fiddling around on the computer, animating for hours, and like, it's something I do as a pastime, something I do for fun, whereas somebody might play video games for like 16 hours. So you have to find a way to make it enjoyable for yourself. Otherwise, you're going to hate every minute of it.
And so leading up to that question, or following up that question, pardon me, you're doing this as a pastime, you're getting better with every iteration, and you've already got kind of like this notoriety on YouTube that you didn't quite expect. Where do you see yourself with this? Like, what do you want to do with it now that a lot of people have really are paying attention to what you're making? Is that going to change the track you want to take with this, or what do you have in mind for this hobby of yours or these projects?
I definitely want to like take it in a direction, because like ever since I started YouTube, I always like promised myself if I like did hit like a huge milestone, or like, excuse me, hit a huge milestone or something, I wanted to like use it. I didn't want to just like profit off of it or make money out of it. And especially with this project, like this channel, I want to give out games for free, which I've been doing. And I also want to just like help people in any way I can. So eventually down the line, I want to open up like charities and things, especially for like game developers, because I don't think they're getting enough attention.
Yeah, especially the small ones. I think, it's easy to get lost. The field already seems extremely saturated, right? But just because it's saturated doesn't mean there's not a lot of good stuff out there and hard work being done. That should be appreciated and well financed, because I can tell you the game's awesome, but if it doesn't pay the bills, there might come a point where you gotta stop.
Yeah, which that's a point where I've already kind of hit. It's that most of these games are, you wouldn't think so, but like most of the game's assets I have to pay for, or like I have to get them from somewhere. And like even the tools that I'm using, like last night I had to buy a $30 rigging software. All it does is set up a skeleton for your character to move. It's $30, like may not seem a lot, but you keep adding like little programs and softwares like that, it adds up quite a bit of money.
Yeah, where it's like all that money that, anyone else would probably use on going out, grabbing something to eat, or buying something for their personal hobby, you're going to have to put into this project.
Yeah, and like I never understood like when people would make GoFundMe's for like games and they'd be like, "Oh, we need X amount of money, like $1,000 or $600, something absurd." And I'd be like, "Why do you need money to make a game? Just like program it. It's free. It's a software." But what you don't realize is that these things take time. Like if you want to model a rock, you have to sit there for 6 hours modeling a rock, texturing it, and getting it ready to put in a game, and then you got to make it work in the game. Or you could spend maybe $15, get a rock that has all the physics assets, it's perfect, it looks great, and it's amazing because like there's a whole marketplace out there right now of people just like giving out assets. Obviously you have to pay for them, but the fact that it connects you with different creators is absolutely crazy.
And where is it that you get your assets for your games? Just for anyone listening who might be interested.
So I use Unreal Marketplace a lot of the time to get my assets. And I use Unreal Engine 4.25 to create my games. And I don't know, a lot of the time I run into this moral dilemma of like, oh, I'm not really creating the games and like I'm just stealing people's assets. And like I get a few comments here and there about people just being like, oh, he's just ripping assets and like repurposing them or whatever, or like just flipping assets. I think that's a term people use a lot. But what people don't realize is like, especially if you go on my Twitch stream, I spend like 18 hours just creating games and like making sure that everything works. And like I do it in a quick amount of time, yeah, but getting everything to work cohesively and actually function in such a short amount of time is very taxing.
Yeah. Yeah, first of all, fuck those people who hate on you in the comments because they suck. And second, yeah, I mean, I think anyone who creates stuff, especially digital content, can relate, because even myself as a graphic designer, you know, when I'm tasked with freelance stuff, you can either make everything from scratch, which, don't get me wrong, you know, if you're a purist and you're really trying to get a specific look and feel, it's awesome. It will take a shit ton of time. But a lot of times there's plenty of templates and kind of things that are already pre-made, sometimes better than what you could already do.
Oh yeah.
That all you need to do is kind of fix it and, you know, switch it up to your specific need, and it still resolves the problem, you know. Exactly. And I think for the sake that, for what you're saying, I hope that anyone who does hate on you and is listening, right, that they get the context of what these projects, the purpose of these projects is for. Obviously, us, the viewers, are entertained by your stuff because, you know, it's just a silly brand of comedy and we get to interact with it, right? That's the beauty of games. But ultimately, the real goal is for yourself to learn.
Exactly. And I see it all the time on my Twitch streams because I get some people hating on me and they'll jump in the stream and be like, oh, you're not working hard or something, and then just leave. And it's frustrating, especially because I am just trying to learn. Like, maybe down the line I could make my own game from scratch, and I have worked on a few projects already and made things like 100% from scratch, but they do take time, and like that's not what the goal is. Like, as I said earlier, it's like rapid iterations.
And I'm gonna repeat this: the games are free. Free.
Like, it's like, why are you complaining?
Shut up. Exactly. Like, they're free, dude. I'm not even charging. Like, you're spending money out of your pocket to make this happen so that you can hate on me for not even paying for me. Like, thanks. You're the best. Oh God, that's awful. You touched up on something that I wanted to ask you in the interview, and that is, so you have thought about making your own full-fledged game?
Oh, definitely. I have tons of projects right now just sitting on my computer that are like full-fledged games, but I just don't know like what way to release them. Like, I want to get them out to the public, and that's kind of what I wanted to do with this channel as a way to like fund me and like back me, is by buying a game and playing it. So I think just getting the resources and like connections and like obviously people to help me out and like get it on the Steam store or something, or even through itch.io, which that's debatable. But I do want to get a game out on Steam because I've been working pretty hard in my past pastime, on my own special projects.
Is there anything that you already have in the works, like some sort of theme or idea that you're really passionate about making into a full-fledged project? If you're willing to share, maybe it's in the raps, or maybe this is a secret.
I mean, it is in the raps, but I can kind of like generalize them.
Give me a tease. Give me a tease.
Give you a tease. All right. So right now I have one game, which all I'm gonna say is that it's got pirate ships, and you can drive the pirate ships, and like you can hunt for treasure, and like it's like Sea of Thieves, but more realistic looking.
Okay. Well,
So
I like that tease.
that's one. That was one. The second one is a parkour free running game. That's very colorful. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But that's a whole feature in itself.
On like some Mirror's Edge kind of
Mirror's
like
Edge
action
is,
vibe.
like, super hot. Yeah. But
Oh.
it's super colorful, and it's inspired by like electric house dance club music.
Oh, dude, that's a good tease. I like that. That's a good pitch right there.
And then I don't know if this one counts, but it's a school project that I'm working on. It's cyberpunk meets like overgrown apocalyptic like robot Fallout. I don't know. It's a whole bunch of genres, but it would make more sense if you just saw it. Yeah, that's pretty much everything besides some like
And
stuff.
in the future, hopefully, when these projects are completed, you're planning to put them on Steam, or you're gonna keep using the itch.io platform?
Personal projects that I actually develop and create myself with like my own assets, I would probably definitely sell them on Steam. Whereas like fun games like the ones I posted on YouTube already would be through itch.io.
Nice. Yeah, I just want to, for anyone who's listening to this and maybe the game's already out in some near future, right? Somebody's watching this months after it's already out, or maybe who knows when the project comes out. They know where to find this stuff, including myself. I'm going to be on the lookout. The last thing I wanted to ask you, Will, is just kind of a little nerd Meat Canyon talk, right? So
okay.
you recreated Sunrise. For those who don't know, that's an animation from a YouTuber called Meat Canyon. He's, I guess, a professional animator, and his stuff is gnarly, like crazy. We're gonna have some B-roll of what his video looks like while we're on the YouTube video for this. And so I wanted to ask, I guess it's safe to assume you watch his stuff, correct?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And so of all the ones that he has, why did you pick that one? Why did you want to recreate that one?
So for a lot of my games, I try to find things that have like a story or like kind of like a whole background to them. I think that's why I keep coming back to the Mung Daal Chowder thing, is because like there's just these jokes that have like so much meaning and like story behind them. That's why they're funny. So the Teletubbies thing was like, oh, obviously, like Teletubbies having a secret underground ritual, like that's crazy. So putting it into like a 3D kind of narrative and like seeing what that would look like was something I wanted to do.
I'll tell you, my personal favorite from Meat Canyon is the Ed and Eddie ones that he's released. I think like 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
Well, that's like one of my favorite cartoon shows, period. But he takes it on a whole nother level with this kind of like occult ritual stuff, similar to like Sunrise, right? And just my last little nerdy bit about Meat Canyon, I hopped on his stream the other day, and he was drawing from the Peanuts. What is it, Charlie? Right?
Oh yeah.
And right after he was done, I guess he had already finished a picture of Airbud. And it was one of the most disturbing things I have seen on the internet. Because Airbud is like, now he's got like this skeleton-like tarantula appendages
Oh my god.
with hands. I need to show you a picture when we're done with this interview after the video. It was, and he just looks, the dog was just staring directly at you, just serious, with this disgusting body. And I was like, man, this guy's too good at his job.
Oh god, that's terrifying.
But Will, I appreciate you coming on here and talking with us. I did want you to kind of plug in your YouTube, your Twitch, any other things you have for us so that anyone who is interested to check out more of your content can do so.
Yeah, so I have a Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, all under ThrillDaWill, and probably some other profiles that are also under ThrillDaWill, so don't add me on them. But yeah.
And you got a Discord too, right? That's where we initially got the contact. All right. Yeah, and you post updates and stuff on your games there?
Yeah, I post all my updates on Discord, Twitter, and I stream on Twitch, obviously.
Nice. Awesome. Well, Will, I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to talk to us about your game projects. Man, English is really hard right now at the end. And yeah, I can't wait to see hopefully these full-fledged games that you really want to get done in the near future, to try those out for myself, and whatever other silly projects you have that we can expect on itch.io.
For sure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks. Can you introduce yourself to us, Adam?
Yeah, my name's Adam Ampolsky, and I'm the solo developer for Snoozing Pixel.
Nice. And so, as you know, the solo developer for Snoozing Pixel, you work on Chowder's story, correct?
Yeah, it's gonna be my first game, and